That's fine. I'm just telling them.
Okay, I'm gonna start something else anyway.
Oh, okay, you're gonna fix it.
I'll fix it later, but I
Oh,
gotta go
okay.
live on this one because this one's not going.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Okay, so okay, yeah, guys. So today the title of the stream is chill. I never did mind the little things. We're having technical difficulties. I don't know why. Maybe the devil, the matrix, everything in between is all the same. The reason I named it that, you guys probably saw that I had a stream earlier with my dad on the Karis project with Michelle Swinick, and she was talking about, and shout out to her, she's awesome. But she was talking about like passion and doing things because you care about people, and she was like, you have to find something to motivate you to be passionate about. And I told her, I'm like, you're making me feel things I don't want to feel, and I'm angry. Like I said, it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. um it's a good thing to feel things. And women today, for a variety of reasons, live in a constant state of not feeling anything. And just on my stream the other day, I said, um, I say all the time that I don't really feel much. I should probably stop saying, but that's what I said. I should probably stop saying it, but I don't really feel much. Not for myself. I feel for others, but not for myself. I don't really care like that. It doesn't really, like, nothing really moves me, you know. And when Michelle said that to me today, like the way that she said it, like you guys saw me, like, just like geeking out kind of, because like I couldn't process what I was feeling. Like I could process it. I could process it. That's why I was like geeking out. Um, because women particularly, uh, I think a lot of people don't realize what motivates women. Um, I've said often that I've never been motivated by anything in my life, and I think that's true. I think the only thing that has, in theory, motivated me was family. And I feel like I can't breathe, guys. uh, wait, is it still okay?
Yeah, it's still going.
We're having technical difficulties.
Yeah,
I don't
just
know.
keep going.
So anyway, um, I've said in theory, like, the only thing that has really actually motivated me is family, but I've never actually felt motivated to do anything. Like everything that I've done in life has been out of pure, like, this is what makes sense to do, or I feel like this makes sense to do it, and so I'm gonna do it. And or out of like, someone told me I couldn't do it, so I was gonna prove that I could do it just because you're not gonna tell me I can't do it. A lot of women are operating like this, and it doesn't work. It's like it really doesn't work. And a lot of women who are intelligent will get themselves into a situation. I saw a post earlier, what's the difference between, like, cocaine or heroin and weed or whatever. I would say now, after pondering the entire day on it, apathy is the difference. Weed is the metaphorical apathy, and cocaine and heroin gets you like shot up and going. You want to do something. Um, wow, this is funny. Um, I know my mom did a lot of coke and a lot of crack growing up, and she was always on go. She always up, like it pissed me off like how much she was on go, because I was just such a laid back person. I still am a very laid back person. I don't Nothing really bothers me very much. I don't really care about much. In you know in the theoretical sense, like, I'm just like, oh, okay, true, all right, anyways, moving on. Um but for women, this is not good. And I'll tell you why. It's actually better in a lot of ways to be the crackhead, and I'll tell you why. um because women today, a lot of them, the reason why they actually traumatize women is because they'll put themselves into a state, especially if they're a highly intelligent person. They will weigh the risks of what's going to happen if they uh, go down a certain route. and participate in certain things, and they'll reason themselves out of everything. And so they'll fall into apathy. Jesus says, be hot or cold. If you're lukewarm, I'll spit you out. And you become a very apathetic person if you don't choose. And the reason why a lot of women who are more of the thinking types, the more intuitive thinking types, try to be more rational as possible, reason their way through everything. The reason why they become apathetic is because they weigh the risk of going heavy a negative direction. And they're like, nah, I can't do that because I can't be responsible for what was done to me, because I would do too much, because they understand they need to restrain themselves and temper themselves, because they know the potential capability with their own skills and how dangerous that will be. But they don't understand the potential with love, because maybe they didn't have that. Maybe they didn't have a father. Maybe they didn't have a mother, whichever one. Maybe they were sexually abused as a child. Maybe they had whatever the case. Maybe they had something, and it put them in that kind of stagnant place where they're kind of unable to differentiate how to move forward, because a mother is the one who's supposed to show you a mother is supposed to show you that love and that affection and that tenderness and that nurturing. And fathers do it too, but it's very different, of course, because they have, the discipline, the logic, the reason. But mothers particularly, this is why it's very evil when mothers are not present in a child's life, and why it's so detrimental when they are not capable as mothers, because they rob the child, especially the daughter, of the ability of understanding how to move the correct way with emotion. Because you still need emotion, especially as a woman. Women are very emotional, but when women are like I was growing up, where they try to be very pristine and logical about everything they do and reason themselves out of everything, they can get into a different type of trouble. They can invest their time and energy into things that really don't matter, because they're like, well, I don't really care either way. Like, I'm just doing this because I think that it needs to be done. And they don't find a passion or a purpose in almost anything. It's very crippling. And I think this is why feminism is doing this to women, because the smartest of women will be too scared to indulge in a certain type of evil, because the logic, they'll be like, okay, this is what I know I'm capable of doing if I go down this route. And they don't have the balance of love to be like, okay, well, I can temper myself along the way. And then they'll just crash out. So they're like, no, I'm not going to do any of that. I know I could do great things in those things, but I won't be able to manage myself along the way. They realize they're missing something. What they're actually missing is a man. But anyway, women who are still intelligent, but kind of don't really grow up with consequences or discipline in the way that like a good father would teach their daughter, they will go out and do whatever just feels good, and they will push themselves in that direction, right? And they will just create a bunch of chaos and destruction in their path, and they just won't care. They'll be very good at it. They're like, yeah, it's whatever. I need to do this. Women are primarily responsible for giving their daughters that balance, because they show the daughters how to cooperate with the father. If you don't have a mother that is capable and skilled, a Proverbs 31 woman, you're going to be missing a huge part of the equation, because you know what your father can give you, you know what a man can give, but you don't see the reciprocal, like the bouncing off each other, so to speak. Before I get into it further, I'll play the first clip. I'll play the first clip. I'm glitching, guys. I don't usually glitch, but here we are. Okay. Because if a man comes along, and this is terrifying to me too, I'm not even gonna lie. If I met a man today that was very patient, that he was loving, he was genuinely kind, He was soft in his words with me. He didn't look down to me from my circumstance. He didn't expect me to explain my existence constantly, like the woman said, what you've been through. If it gets out to the room, then everybody thinks that it's an interview now. They have the right to question you. If he didn't treat you that way and he was behind you in your corner the way a woman would be, but with the solutions of a man, I would be scared of that man. I would be very scared of him, because that man will expect more of you. Because the man who gives you the most compassion is going to expect the most growth, and he's going to create the circumstances for the most growth. You have to be an exceptional person with a person like that. Women are not afraid so much of the man itself. They're afraid of the consequences of who you might need to be. But they forget that a man like that is not going to be a tyrant over you. They're going to genuinely love you. They're genuinely going to create the circumstances for success. They genuinely care about your performance. They genuinely love you. They're scared of that because they think they don't deserve it, and they know it's going to be hard, and they don't want to disappoint somebody. And they don't want to disappoint a man, because that man will give them a critique, and if they're genuinely in love with that man, it will break their soul in ways that I can't even explain. Because it's like all those other people abused me, and they didn't love me. But if you love me, and I disappoint you, and you genuinely love me, then I have failed as a human being, and I don't deserve life. That's how women feel. And it's not reasonable, it's not rational, because everyone makes mistakes and everyone fails. This is also why having a good father is important, because he'll push you to do things that you don't want to do, but you need to do. Okay, so a lot of you know that clip. It's one of my more, one of the clips that go off every now and then. The premise of that, and I said it a while ago, I said it last December, I think, something like that, or whatever, last year sometime. And the premise of that is that a woman is afraid of the consequences of who she might need to be with a man who actually loves and cares for her. The reason that she's actually afraid of that is because when you come across an individual who brings out the best in you and allows you to actually feel something, it becomes very intoxicating. It's not normal for women not to feel anything. In the Bible, it tells men to love, cherish, and esteem their wives. It tells women to respect their husbands. The reason why God tells us to do different things is because biologically men are different than women, obviously. Respect doesn't motivate women the way it motivates men. Love, cherishing, and esteem motivates women. Obviously with discipline, and you still need boundaries and all of those things, which is why, having fathers to teach you how to cooperate is important and things like that. But it will not motivate a woman to move, to do what she needs to do. And the reason that she's so terrified of coming in contact with that man is because when she goes her whole life not feeling anything, putting herself in the position to cut herself off of feeling something, she's no longer in control, because feminism has taught women that in order to win and be great and all these things, you need to reject your femininity. You need to be in full control. And for the thinking type of woman, a woman who's more intuitive or more tries her best to be logical and reasonable, she is going to try to have complete control over herself all the time. And is it wrong to have control over your mind, your body, and your spirit? Absolutely not. It is good to have self-control. It becomes a problem when you don't allow yourself to acknowledge feelings for other people or your investments to other people, because then you give yourself a false reality of what the situation is that you're dealing with across from you. You'll invest time and emotions and energy into friends, relationships, jobs, degrees, things like that, that you have, that you feel absolutely nothing for, that doesn't move you, or doesn't, you're not passionate about, and you waste a lot of time and money doing things that really just don't matter. It's particularly bad when you get yourself into the position where you come across that alluring, self-possessed man, because you think, because you've gone your whole life controlling your emotions around everybody, that you will do it with this person too. But you will come across a person. My dad used to tell me this when I was like, my whole life, he would tell me this. I would tell my dad, like, no, I don't feel things the way that you feel things. Like, I feel for people, like, because I hate injustice and I'm a very empathetic person. But when it comes to me personally, in relation to me personally, no, I'm telling you, I'm never gonna go there. Like, that's just, that's just who I am. He's like, no, Kaysha, you have not lived long enough. You're gonna come across somebody who's gonna make you feel something one day, and it's gonna drive you mad, and you're gonna have to deal with it. And I was like, nah, man, you don't know me. No, my dad knew me. He raised me. He knew me. And the thing is, when you put yourself in that position, you don't look at what the potential of you don't look at the potential of what you can do in that situation. You rob yourself of the full understanding of what you're capable of doing, both positively and negatively, because you don't calculate for actually coming across something that's so genuine that it moves you with passion and motivates you to be greater than the potential that you've capped yourself at. Because women cannot push themselves beyond their cap unless they feel something. They can, like, for example, I do a lot of work with my father. The work that I do with my father is going to be completely different than the work I'll do with my future husband, because my father can't motivate me the way that a future husband can. It's just impossible. It's a different relationship. It's a parent and a child. He would never get 100% of my capacity. It just doesn't work that way. Even as much as I love my little sister Karis and I miss her, I haven't seen her in 5 years. Not even she can get the full capacity of me, because she's not my daughter. She's not going to move me in the same way that a husband and my own children would, or our children would. It's a completely different thing. It's a unit. You become a unit with someone, and your progression is dependent on you being a unit with this person. It's a completely different dynamic. So when women are going around and they suppress that from themselves, they cut themselves from the ability to actually meet their full potential. And then they'll go around with people that don't matter and spend time with people that don't matter, because they logistically think, okay, well, this person has this, I have this, like a business. Okay, well, this makes sense. And I'm not talking about financially. Like, they'll look at capabilities, like, okay, this person has this skill, I have this skill, and this is how we can reach here together. It seems like we're aligned, so this just makes sense. That's never going to work. And especially if a woman is traumatized in one way or the other, the way that I had been growing up in the foster care system, being sexually abused and not having a mother, that did make a difference. I had my grandmother and great grandmother, and they could logistically teach me traditional things, but I could not see myself in them because they were not my mother. I could see myself in my father because he's my father, but I can't see myself in my grandparents. So this is why it's very important. Women need to have mothers to show them that love, and the fathers that will show how the woman works in relation with him, so that she doesn't have that fear. Because what I described in that video there is a woman who is afraid of coming across that man, because she's afraid of disappointing him, because she knows she will. She doesn't know how, but she knows she will, because she knows she's inherently missing something, and it's the feeling. And she will feel for him very deeply. She will genuinely love him, but she will get overwhelmed with that emotion because she's not had it before. And the potential of, some of the things that she may or may not do will eat at her. I'm going to go to the next example here. And really the crux of the matter is women, they think that when they have these traumatic things happen to them, that they can be inspired by anger the way that men are inspired by they think that the way men get angry is the way they get angry, and it's not. Like, a man will get angry about something happening to his child, and he'll go off and he will do a lot of hard work to help his child. A woman will get angry about something that happens to her or a kid, but the way that she responds to it is going to be very different. um, for example, I was when I was in school, I was really angry about feeling like I couldn't be feminine enough, and I would never win that. Um, you know, I talked to you guys about this before, and I was like, well, you know what? I was so mad that I pushed myself to like the worst limits to get myself in shape, because I was determined from that anger and that rage of I'm just not going to win this game, so screw it. I worked out, like I ran like 2.5 hours every morning. I did weights as well with my dad, and in the afternoon I did like extensive exercise, because and I cut my diet like seriously, like even to the point where I starved myself out of some feminine attributes. A lot of times I would say, like, I prefer being leaner and thinner because of the agility, but and in part that's true, because I was playing sports as well, and I was determined to be like better than everybody else, despite the fact that they were like, okay, well, you can't do this, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to show you that I can do everything else. I'm better than you still. And I did, in a lot of ways. I did. um but that wasn't the solution. It was mind, body, and character. It was personality. And so women think that if they take the anger approach the way that men do, they're going to get the same result, but it's not true, because when women do that, they need constant anger motivators. They need constant rage motivators that's going to inflict harm on them or someone else. And I wasn't the kind of person where I wanted to inflict harm on someone else, because I understood myself, what I had been through, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I would put myself in situations where I would constantly pressure myself to go harder and harder and harder, the next stage, the next stage, the next stage, just to prove that I can. And that's where women get themselves in trouble, because when women become evil, my point is here, when women become evil and they don't move towards love, and they move towards deception and wickedness, this is why they become so tyrannical, because the payoff for the anger is momentary. You only get a split bit of payoff. You don't get a long-term payoff. When you're motivated by love from your husband, someone like the alluring man that is self-possessed, it is a long-term payoff, and it continually renews itself over and over and over again, and it's intoxicating. But when you try to get it from the rage, it's shortened, and you have to keep getting hits. So you have to keep doing something awful to get another hit and another hit and another hit. It's kind of why I said the cocaine is a little bit better than weed, because someone like me would have been a stoner instead of a crackhead, and I would be apathetic, because I would be like, no, I'm just not doing anything, because I don't care. I don't care about anything. I don't even care about like even how I feel. Like, it just doesn't matter to me. And this is where women get themselves into problems. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you now a clip here. I think this is the one.
Don't be so soft. There's no.
Go ahead.
So what they're describing is how they turn women into Jezebels.
Yeah, my dad said what I'm describing is how they turn women into Jezebels. And yes, I'm trying to get to that. And you'll notice I am stuttering a little bit. I am actually shaking. This is like, I am in system overload, so allow me, okay?
Don't be so soft. There's no stinking honor in any of this. It's just a game. Play to win. There are no rules. It was him.
He's just a corpse and he's still blabbing. I'll have to gag him to shut him up.
Your father and mine, the whole planet, he blew it up. It's true. No one's survived but us. Ask him if you want. He'll tell you. He's proud of it.
Please stop talking, Vegeta.
It's sapping all of your strength. No. Listen. You have to hear this. We worked so hard for him. We did everything he asked of us and more. He took me from my father when I was just a little boy. He made me do whatever he wanted and said he would kill my father if I didn't. I did everything he asked, but he killed him anyway, along with everyone else. He was scared of us. Scared that a Super Saiyan would be born to rise up and overthrow him.
A touching story.
Please, no more. Save your strength. Kakarot, please, destroy Frieza. He made me what I am. Don't let him do it to anyone else. Whatever it takes, stop him. Please. Vegeta.
Okay, so I played that in the wrong order, but I think maybe I should play the first one anyways. Yeah, I'm gonna play the first one anyways, just because. Sorry guys, just watch.
Don't be so soft. There's no stinking honor in any of this. It's just a game. Play to win. There are no rules. Krillin, no! You're going to have to get over your self-heartedness. Do it. You have to forget about your feelings. You have to. They'll get you killed. They'll get you killed, Kakarot. I can't. I can't change who I am. Not on the battlefield. My feelings are my guide. Besides, everybody deserves a chance to change their ways, just like you had. Fool, you don't know what you're dealing with.
Long live the king. Oh my, this is stupendous. Wow, what a great show. Unbelievable. Look at that.
Save your strength, Vegeta. No, there's more. He killed our home planet. It was him.
He's just a corpse and he's still blabbing. I'll have to gag him to shut him up.
Your father and mine.
Okay, so you guys get the point there. So, and I know not a lot of women probably watch Dragon Ball Z, but the point is gonna come full effect, hopefully. This is gonna be one of my probably more sporadic. But anyway, as you saw there, Vegeta was pretty much begging Kakarot to take action and outline the circumstances of pretty much how Frieza came in and destroyed everything, took children like Vegeta, and told him, if you don't do what I say, I'll kill everyone, including your father. And also used Vegeta against the father and told him, if you don't do what I say, then I'm going to take your son, I'm going to kill him, and all these things. So it was a twofold thing, and this is what we're seeing happen even today. I know this is a TV show, but it's something that's we're actively watching play out. And even in television, you get these stories from somewhere. they've watched this happen throughout history. This is something that's a typical tactic in war. You go after women and children to destroy the men and get what you want and bend them into submission. And so this is what Frieza was doing to planet Vegeta. And they had already moved to planet Vegeta because Sadala, their original planet, was destroyed. So anyway, women, what Vegeta just did there, women think that when they go through these difficult situations like trafficking, sexual abuse, physical abuse, maybe abuse in the home from maybe a parent or whatever, they think that if they shut themselves down, then they can be ruthless the way that Vegeta was. They think that they can go around and just doing things for the thrill and they'll get away with it. And because they think that because they have the thrill and the rampage in their mind and they have the determination because they feel the anger and the rage and the resentment towards what's gone on, that they're going to succeed. And sometimes they do, but not in the way that they do and not in the way that Vegeta was, because what Vegeta was doing as a man was very different because he had far more calculated steps. And even when Kakarot wanted to take an emotional approach about it and give grace and mercy, Vegeta was like, no, you can't give grace and mercy because here's the circumstances of what's gone on. Women won't even reason that way in those situations. They will just sit there and be like, this is what I'm going to do because I'm on a rampage and I don't care. And that's why a lot of women who are a little bit more intelligent, they actually become apathetic and they don't do anything because they see that in their mind. They see the potential and the desire for it, and they completely shut down. They completely turn their emotions off. They're like, I don't want to feel anything because I'm terrified that if I feel something, I'm going to go that direction, because if something pisses me off or turns me the wrong way, like the straw that broke the camel's back, they're going to go and turn into Vegeta. And if they're capable, then they very well could. They very well could. And we've seen examples of it. If you think of, I won't even say that, actually. Think of your own examples. And then how Kakarot was like, oh no, like everyone deserves another chance. Feelings, I let my feelings guide me in fights or whatever. Women will let feelings guide them in battles and in war, and they think that they'll be making rational decisions the way that maybe Kakarot or Vegeta would, even though Kakarot, many times, because he gave people grace where it wasn't deserved, many people died and blah, blah, blah. Still, he was making a more calculated step, and he had plans on how he was going to approach everything with every decision that he made. He knew where the limit was going to be. With women, there's no limit. The limit ends when their feeling subsides. If the feeling is still raw, they're going to go and go and go and go and go. And this is why young girls who are coming up, they're doing online chat rooms, anorexia, and all this other stuff. And I was on a chat room when I don't know how I even got into this chat room in school when I was in, like, coming up in middle school or high school or whatever. I don't know how I ended up. It's like when Kik was famous, and like they were doing Kik, and then when WhatsApp came out, then they were doing WhatsApp or whatever, and girls would from all over the world would have these chats and come together and start talking. For all I know, they could have been men who was just posting stuff, talking with girls, and they could have not even been girls. I have no idea, because we never had verbal conversations. But girls will get into those chat rooms, and they will have whatever problems they have, and they will have people instigating all day, every day. And because women are so mental and so emotional, they constantly women have to have the last word, especially when they're in that heightened state. If anyone's having an argument with a woman ever, she needs to have the last word. She wakes up in the morning and she'll be on go. Like, women are emotional that way. It's just how we are. And they will constantly push each other over the edge until someone's has to go hospital or something else. Now, I wasn't pushing anyone to death, but someone capable like me doesn't have to directly tell somebody, I'm going to push you to your death. Watching me go out and do things, outperforming the other girls, just because I have less emotion in that one place, I can push past them because I can suppress my emotion and then just perform. and then they'll get pissed and they'll try to keep going to mash me and beat me, and they'll run themselves into the ground, which will actually make them worse because their emotion, the negative emotion, will eat them alive because they're like, why the hell can't I keep up? Why can't I do this? And they also will fall into more things like, drugs, alcohol, whatever. The reason why I outperformed a lot of women around me, especially in that time doing certain things, is because they did drugs, they did alcohol, they were smoking, they were sleeping around. I didn't really care. I didn't care about anything. So I was like, this is baby food. What do you mean you can't run 5 miles, 7 miles? What do you mean you can't run for 2.5 hours? You're going to lose the game. You're just going to lose. And I'll do this every single day. I will do it all day. I don't care. I don't care. And because women are not motivated, they can't be motivated by anger and rage, because they'll feel the disappointment in themselves, and then they'll destroy themselves. Every single time they fail, they will go further and further into destruction until they eventually just unalive. And that's where it ultimately goes. And that's why eventually I had to stop, because my dad was like, Kaysha, you're gonna unalive. And I was like, I don't care. I don't care. Like, what do you mean? Like, what, what do you mean? And my dad was like, nah, man, you can't do this. And, obviously prayed with me and blah, 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 Bible studies and things like that. But I had a father. So it was easy for me to eventually rationalize, okay, I cannot do this. This doesn't make sense. I had someone to be like, okay, Kaysha, you need to do this. With people, with girls, especially who don't grow up with love in their environment, if they don't have someone who logically explains to them, if you don't do this, this is the consequence, and then give them consequences, they're going to go out doing a lot of reckless things, because they need to feel something to function. Women need to feel positive things as like an energy surge. And if they don't, they're going to self-destruct, or they're going to destroy people around them, because they need that fuel. It's like men. I saw a survey someone did. It was a scientific study, and they asked thousands of men, would you rather go the rest of your life without respect or the rest of your life without love? And they said, I would go the rest of my life without love. Give me respect 100% of the time. Because men, for whatever reason, they can't function without respect. I don't understand that, because I'm not a man. I can't. And the women, majority of them said, I think over 93% of men said they would go the rest of their life without love. And over 90-something% of women said they would go the rest of their life without respect, and they would choose love instead. The few percentage or whatever, they're probably broken. They don't understand their brain. They probably think they're trans or something. I don't know. Because that they're lying to themselves. They're broken mentally. But this is what the problem is. That's what the problem is. Let me get to the next one. It's gonna come together, I think.
You guys love each other, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. That will go away. You cannot trust anybody ever.
Yeah, so women, as you see, like the girl, she was there saying, oh, you guys are getting married. Oh, that's nice, whatever. Oh, well, it'll go away. You can't trust anybody. And this is why women predominantly are being put in the position that they are. Most of the people that do transgender, they're women, and often sexually abused. A lot of people who end up in trafficking, they were in the foster care system, wards of the Crown. When you do that kind of abuse to a girl, because she needs the emotional processing to actually commit and surrender to things, when you cut that off, she loses her ability to actually do this. This is why it's so evil. And this is why when people say, oh, why you're tone police or whatever, why are you telling me that I have to do something in the way that the woman wants? This is feminism. No. Women do not function at their highest capacity if you do certain things to them, and it gives the reverse result. It sets them backwards, and it inspires them to do evil, because women need love the way that men need respect. And if women deny themselves love and deny themselves the ability to actually feel love and connection to people, if they fight it, they are actively engaging in rebellion against themselves and God. Because a woman's very nature needs to feel. She needs to nurture. She needs to love and empathize. And it will be not what it could be if she doesn't feel for herself. Because unless she feels for herself genuinely, she won't give her all to somebody that needs it. She won't give her all to her husband, to her children, to her community, to her church. Because now, where she thinks she's inflicting pain on just herself, she's inflicting pain on everybody else. I used to tell my dad, oh, well, this doesn't even bother you. Like, it doesn't affect you. This is affecting me. Like, I'm just doing this to myself. He's like, that's what you think. You don't understand what you're doing, but all of your actions are hurting people around you. Because I had my dad to reason those things to me, I could go for a very long time rationalizing everything. Just like, okay, well, I have to do this. This makes sense. The only other option is like, to me, everything's okay. This is life or death. Everything in life you do is life or death. It's today or tomorrow. It's just, are you delaying the inevitable, or are you choosing it today? It's up to you. Are you choosing life today to choose life tomorrow, or are you choosing death today to choose death tomorrow? Like, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. There's consequences to everything you do. But I had to do a lot of mental gymnastics to do those things, because it's not natural. It's not natural to surrender that way. You should be able to reason from beginning to end, critically, to think critically. That's normal. But what I'm talking about is going through that process to try and justify doing something for somebody is not normal, because then you're not creating a connection with somebody. You're doing something because you're just like, okay, well, this is the right thing to do. I just did. What else am I going to do?
That is the face of the devil.
Yes, I saw. You're just thinking to yourself, okay, well, I'm not going to just sit here and let this person die, because that's bad for society and blah, blah, blah. And I would hate it for myself. But you're not actually like, you're so self-removed from it, because you don't feel personally for yourself personally. So you can't connect with the person in that moment and be like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm very removed from things. If someone cries in front of me, I'm going to be like, I'll just stare at them. I don't know what to say. And I know some of it is just my personality, because I'm a very analytical and thinking kind of person. I think I would have been that way regardless. It's just the way in which I approach it is a little bit more different, because of that. So let's go to the next clip, because now I'm going to show you something else. So like I said, when women, they don't actually have the love, that's why they destroy the homes, because women will go around and they'll do this more personally, especially if the woman is capable and intelligent. If she's intelligent, but she doesn't rationalize things, like the way I said my father taught me to, she will go around and do whatever feels good, because she needs the hit of crack. She wants it. She needs to feel like intoxicated in some fashion, because she needs a passion. She needs a purpose. And so she will gather the strength and then go fiery into it. And then the first thing they'll go and do is destroy men. I'm going to show you.
We're gonna try a different approach now. Apparently, some Saiyans use anger to transform. So get mad!
You bird brain, big chicken! You pushover, you!
Hey! You get some kind of enjoyment from this?
No! You told me to!
Please stop arguing! I tried, I have, but I just can't do it! Kale? I'm sorry, but it's the truth! I'm not like you! I'll never be good enough! I'll only let you down! You tapped in! That's some awesome work, Kale! Something's wrong! This isn't like when we transformed!
Easy! That's too much!
What happened?
Kinda hard to say. I guess this is Kale's Super Saiyan? Kappa. Huh? You will be my first blood sacrifice.
You saw it, right?
What happens when you put women through the things that men go through?
Yes. So Now remember, and again, a lot of women don't watch Dragon Ball Z, but the men I think are going to understand this, and this is exactly why I'm doing this. So, Kefla was telling, or Kale was telling Kefla or Caulifla, whatever. Some Saiyans are known to transform with anger because Kakarot and Vegeta got their transformation to Super Saiyan as through anger, because they were like, why can't I beat my opponents? I need to beat my opponents. The people are going to come and kill our world, our nation. We escaped these people. We're now on planet Earth and they're coming to destroy Earth. And they were pissed off because they were like, it's constant, it's too much. And I can't explain obviously the way that, you know, men think internally, but it's just the words that were coming out of their mouth during the show.
It's because of the trauma response.
Yeah. So, okay, the trauma, my dad's saying because the trauma response.
A woman's natural trauma response is to turn inward and to avoid the danger.
Yeah.
She becomes violent because she's aggressive and doesn't know what's going on, so she lashes out.
Yes.
But a man becomes aggressive, increases his adrenaline and so forth, so he can go and seek out the threat and destroy it.
Yes. So my dad said that men, they do this because they seek out the threat and destroy it, so they become more aggressive. But when women, they become aggressive because they don't understand. And Kale was more confident and strong and kind of like, whatever. Like, and she did things through anger as well. And in some parts, you know, I could say I was like Kale because I'm kind of like, okay, well, I'm not going to be emotional. I'm just gonna pump it out and I'm gonna do it, and that's just gonna be the end of it. You're not telling me I can't do it. What are you talking about? But at the same time, Caulifla or Kefla, whatever, she, if you notice, if anyone knows about Broly is the one Super Saiyan that Vegeta's father tried to kill at birth because he was too strong. They said he was a freak. And he was like green and glowing or whatever, and they sent him to a decrepit planet for him to starve out and die. And they were like, okay, well, if he lives, he lives. He dies, whatever. The dad went after him or whatever. Even when Vegeta saw him and Kakarot, they're like, oh, this must be the legendary Super Saiyan. Like, and he was like unmatched. The guy is, you know, insane, right? He's insane. They were afraid of how powerful he was just at birth. Kale or Kefla, the girl, and you notice that he has that green, like the Broly. He has the green flames and whatever and he's huge. Kefla, when she transformed to Super Saiyan, she turned into Broly, like the female version of Broly, except she wasn't calm like Broly. Like she would like Broly, he had his moments where he like spazzed out, but it was calculated too. She couldn't even control herself like at all. Like she had no clue and no sense of what was going on. She was spazzing out. She was just out of control. When women have that, you know, if you think back to what I said about women being scared of the consequences of who you might need to be when you come across that exceptional man, that's girl Kefla or whatever, Caulifla or whatever, is the example of crashing out when you come across a man in a certain way that way, because she doesn't know what's going on. She's traumatized. And all she's thinking about is, I'm disappointing somebody. And when a woman thinks she's in a constant state of disappointing somebody, she doesn't know how to fix it. She doesn't know where it's coming from. She doesn't know what it is. And she's going to lash out. And the first person she's going to lash out to is a man. And like she said, Kaba, you're going to be my first blood sacrifice. But really, the instigator was her female friend. Her female friend is the one who instigated Kaba to instigate the friend with the same tactics that she used, because Kale has the confidence and the logic and reasoning to be like, okay, I can use my anger and channel it. And then eventually she was like, I feel it in my back. I can channel it through my back. She didn't understand where her female friend was at. She didn't understand the circumstances were different and what the effects were going to be on her friend by taking the same approach. So she told Kaba to go in and do that and insult her and try to get her to do the same Super Saiyan capabilities. And she turned into Broly and went mad and ballistic. And she almost killed them a couple times. Now, she eventually calmed down, and she was, there's many scenes where Kale is like encouraging her, and she's like, oh, yeah, that's good. But because the friend is emotional and she's doing something as a female, like she's not she's not understanding the whole circumstances. She's not weighing the consequences of what's going to happen. The friend is just going to keep encouraging her in delusion. And she thinks that the encouragement that she gives herself, she can give to the other girl. And this is the example I gave you, where I would be starving myself, working out for hours a day, like weights, running, all sorts of stuff, eating like strict, didn't bother me at all. Like, I'm a very disciplined person. And then girls would be watching me, and I would be encouraging them the same way I encourage myself. Well, just do it. You just have no choice. Like, this is the only option. If you want to win, this is how you win. And it would destroy people, because they're like, what the hell do you mean you just do it? Like, how do you, what the frick are you talking about? Just do it. And girls would cry. Girls would cry. They'd be like, what the hell, Kaysha? Like, what the hell are you talking about? And I'm like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Get up and do it, or leave me the hell alone. Shut up. And that's just what it was. And that's what the example with Kale and Kefla is. The only difference is that Kale is a little bit more softer on her, which is in some degree is worse, because she's making Kefla believe that she's actually capable of doing these things. I was just straight up like, if you're going to do it, do it. If you can't do it, then too bad. I win. You wanted to say something?
Well, I'm just sitting down and saying this is demonstrating how women are being used to pop off, because when the women get angry, they don't know, they're very bad at assessing the threat, especially among men, and then you just start taking out whoever makes them feel bad, and that's it.
Right. And this is why I said women like me, who have a certain level of intelligence, are going to become apathetic, and they're not going to do anything. Because to a certain degree, it's kind of like Kefla, because you don't understand. You think you understand your level of capability if you went sideways, but you don't really understand the full potential because you have not reached into it. And a woman can't understand the full potential because she doesn't understand the way the world operates around men. She can't.
She doesn't understand the experience of men.
Yeah.
Nor can she, because of the men's superior visual spatial capabilities, she's not going to be able to track the behavior the way a man can.
Yes, she like my dad said, she doesn't have the same spatial capability. She can't track the same awareness as men. She just doesn't understand the way men operate. So if she goes off the handle, she's not aware of where she's going to be pushed to do, because there are certain things that will push her buttons. And because she already wants the intoxicating state, she knows at the very least, if I go down this path, I know I'll have to chase the negative intoxication, because that's what's motivating me, the negative intoxication, because I love the power of control over what seems to be myself, my mind, my body, my spirit. And I'm going to keep pushing. But she doesn't know how those men are going to push her and what situations they're going to push her in. And she won't be able to calculate what her capabilities in that moment and how she's going to fly off, because she has no way of weighing the risk of what those men are going to do. And this is how women get themselves in trouble.
This is why the women that start going after men go into lunatic.
Yes, lunatic frenzies.
When they're angry for whatever reason, they go nuts. That's what happens.
Yes, exactly. Like my dad was saying that women, when they go nuts, they go after men, and they go off in frenzies and just become lunatics.
No. If they're trying to go and like, say if a woman's pissed off at a man, and then she starts getting angry, the more she gets angry, the less productive she's going to be.
Yeah.
And the more she's going to do stupid things.
Right.
And she's going to feel like she's justified because they make them feel good because they're satisfying her in the moment for her rage. But she is laying herself bare to everybody to show how much of a criminal she is.
Yes,
they
exactly.
expose themselves.
Yes, exactly. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So this is exactly why women can't indulge in, why some women who are a little bit smarter, they're like, well, you know what? I don't know how bad this is going to be if I go down that way, because I know that men outcompete me. And I know that I won't understand what I will do in that position, and I don't want to know. And that is a smarter thing to do. But At the same time, she's not actually trying to allow herself to feel things more positively, which suppresses her because women need to feel as a motivator to put their full strength into something. And when I stopped being competitive in university, I stopped doing sports and all this other stuff because I was like, no, the competition it's too feminist. It's going to kill me. I became even more apathetic, I think, than I was even in high school because I was like, whatever. Now I just don't have any drive at all. But women aren't supposed to have that same competitive edge, not the way that men do in that way. So anyway, I'm going to show you the next one. Yeah, so this is a lie. So you see here that Kale was encouraging Caulifla. I mean, if you look through all the scenes, Kale tries to encourage Caulifla, but in this scene, Caulifla, she decides that she's disgusted with herself. She hates herself. And in that moment of hating herself, she's like, you know what? I hate who I am. I need to perform in this moment. I need to be better. And then she comes into full control of herself in her berserk, like in her Broly kind of state. That is a lie. That is 100% a lie. And I'll tell you why, because, and this is why feminism teaches women that they shouldn't submit or surrender to men. And that you saw that the woman, her friend, was the inspiration that helped her to reach her full berserk moment while maintaining the full power of pretty much Broly, right? In comparison, if you want to put it that way, that's how I put it, right? Impossible, because I've been at that point. And when women get to that point, they kill themselves. They can't push. Like when men sit down and say, I hate who I am, so I need to be better. It is not the same as a woman saying, I hate who I am, I need to be better. There's a difference, of course, when you acknowledge, like, okay, I am doing this inefficiently, and this is how I can be better, and this is why I need to be better. This is, it's good overall for me and, people around me, my family, whatever. When you're at the point where you're like, I hate myself, and now I'm going to put my full force, that's when women do so much damage to themselves and people around them. Like I said, I was like, the way that I was working out ballistically in prison, for example, when I was unlawfully detained by ICE for 7 months in Nevada, I was a beast. I worked out like 3 or 4 times a day for like an hour straight. I was just a machine. I was going. I did, like, the rage of being in prison was fueling me. Every day, like before and after meals, running for an hour. I would do push-ups. I would do sit-ups. I came out like built. And I was eating like crazy. I'd eat like 40 cookies a day. I would eat like so much bread. Everyone would be like giving me their bread and peanut butter. I was eating all of my food and other people's food because it was constantly going. I was so angry. Because I was like, I can't believe I'm in this situation. I can't believe, like, maybe if I did something better, if I was better, I wouldn't be here. So I hate myself. I'm disgusted that I'm in this situation, because if I did better, this evil wouldn't be happening to me. I underperformed and this is my fault. And I was exhausting myself. But I can't, like, I outperformed everyone in detention. I had the most energy. I was the strongest. I had a good diet. Like my regular food plate was a good diet, so I still got my nutrients. But I was, constantly having to eat so much to match the energy of what I was exerting. And on top of that, I was even teaching people in detention English in Spanish, because they sent me to a Spanish prison. So I had like 2 weeks in 2.5 weeks, like 21 days in isolation. And during that time, I read a Spanish dictionary, taught myself Spanish. When I came out, I would be useful to the people around me and wouldn't get myself in smoke. And because I was not very emotional, people would pop off and do stuff, and I would just look at them and be like, do you really want to go there? Like, do you really want to try me? No, I didn't think so. Sit down. Get on my face. And I'd be like, I know what I'm bringing to the table. I know what I'm prepared to do. What are you going to do about it? And women, and this is why women never really try me like that, not physically or even mentally, like, regardless. But this is how women destroy themselves, because they'll get to that state, and then they'll try to push themselves because they think that pushing themselves that way is the solution. Pushing themselves that way is going to give them the protection and the success above the people around them, including the men. And that's not true, because once a woman gets to that emotional state, it's hits of crack. And for me, I was in prison, so it was hits of crack all day, every day, because every time someone pissed me off, I was like, I'm just going to go work out. I'm going to go run for an hour. And you're complaining about gaining 50 pounds in 1 month here in jail. They've not gained a single pound. I was like 130 or something pounds or whatever, and just getting more fit in jail. And I was just spitting in their face. I was like, screw you. All of the things that you can't do, I'm going to show you that I'm better, and you're going to suffer because I'm going to succeed in front of your face. And I thought that would get me somewhere, but I was still suffering. Everyone still treated me the same way that in a lot of ways that they were being treated in detention. And I still had the same pain inside, but I turned it off because I was like, screw this. I don't care. I'll just outperform. I'll win because I want to win. I always want to win, because that's what anger fuels in women. They want to win. They don't want to endure. And they'll do anything to win instead of endure. So anyways, we'll go to the next one here.
Amazing. How do you do it, Kakarot? You've always been like this, ever since the day I first met you. Always ready to meet the next challenge, even if it's bigger than you are. How can this be happening? I am a super elite, the prince of all Saiyans. And he is just a low level, a common soldier. I am one of the greatest fighters in the universe. Your power had increased so dramatically since our battle on Earth. It tore me apart. How could a low-class soldier accomplish so easily what I had struggled my whole life to achieve? After living every moment of every day for the singular purpose of surpassing you, I finally became a Super Saiyan myself. The prince had reclaimed his throne and fulfilled his destiny. But no matter how strong I became, your power still exceeded mine. I used to fight for the sheer pleasure of it, for the thrill of the hunt. Oh, I had the strength unmeasurable. I spared no one. And yet, you showed mercy to everyone, even your fiercest enemies, even me. How can a Saiyan fight like that, and at the same time be so gentle that he wouldn't hurt a fly? Oh, it makes me angry just thinking about it. But perhaps it is my anger that has made me blind to the truth for so long. I see it now. This day has made it all too clear. You're better than me, Kakarot. You are the best.
Sorry, guys, I'm here coughing in the background. So the reason I showed you that clip of Vegeta talking about Kakarot saying, perhaps it is my anger that has blinded me. And in the end, he said, this day has made it too clear. You're better than me, Kakarot. You are the best. Sorry, if you look at the full clip, Um, actually, Dad, can you? Oh shoot, can you take this one down and can you remove that and put the other three so I can show them? Um, uh, Vegeta there. The reason I showed that is because women think, uh, when they are sitting in that state of anger and frustration, like I said with me in prison, or everything that we lost in Canada. I mean, from the time I was a kid, going through the foster care system, what they did to me there, I was a permanent wore the crown, abused so badly. My dad got me back after 3.5 years or whatever, and all the things that I went through as a kid, things that my mom did or whatever, um, when we became whistleblowers, and all of this. When women go through this situation and they start thinking in the terms that Vegeta did, oh, I was doing it for the thrill, and because that's what it is for them, they're getting intoxicated from the thrill because they're trying to find emotion in something. They think that they can compete with men like Kakarot. And Kakarot's supposed to be the main guy of the show. He's supposed to be the chat or whatever that is just naturally born strong. He's just naturally athletic, naturally able to do the things that he's doing, whereas Vegeta has to work a lot harder to even match him, and then Kakarot will just figure something else out, and then Vegeta has to go and train like a savage to match that same pace, and it's constantly a catch-up kind of game. Women think when they go through those situations, they're going through the thrill of it, they're like, oh, well, in a sense, I'm Vegeta, and I will just match these guys. And when they see men doing things, it will motivate them. The rage will motivate them to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And this is why when men go in and speak to women a certain way or treat them a certain way, they think that, oh, I'm just doing this as a man because I can. But God created men and women a specific way for a reason, that if they don't actually follow his model of how they should treat each other, they are inspiring hostility in one another. Like, they are inspiring, they're bringing out the worst in the other. Like, you really have to surrender to God and die to self to give what God says the other person needs, so that you can extract the best out of that person, instead of pushing the button that that fires the worst in them and ignites a flame of evil. But women will see men like this, and they'll particularly see men who have everything, and they think that they didn't work enough to do it because of maybe what they went through, and they're like, why do you have this and you didn't work as hard, kind of like what Vegeta said. And they will go into a relentless pursuit of trying to play catch up with that guy, and think like, okay, well, why is he here? And the rage will blind them to the reality of what's going on. The difference is they don't understand that the thrill of what they're doing is still not the thrill of what Vegeta was doing, because the purpose of what Vegeta was doing was still very different than the way a woman will do it. Because a woman will just, oh, I had this, and this, and now I'm going to go on a rampage. And the thrill of it, she's going to just do worse and worse. And because women have to be personally involved in the experience of the evil, they have to do it more often than like what the men will do. Women, Jezebels will go around doing things that even men wouldn't do, like Ahab's wouldn't do, because they're like, the men will see the consequences. But because women don't understand the way men operate, they will go around doing hits of crack and think, oh, well, whatever. And they have to keep doing it because that's the thing that's giving them fuel. That's what's motivating them to be capable. That's what's actually pushing them to their next level, the way that Kakarot was pushing Vegeta every time he outmatched him, even just by like an inch. And this is kind of like a big part of the problem. And it kind of sells the idea, well, the feminism, what's happening today is selling the idea to women that regardless of what it is, that your individualism will get you there. Like Vegeta, if you listen to the whole clip, he even said to Kakarot, I even got a family And I thought that would help me, but it didn't. Like because Kakarot had a family, and he's like, I got one of my own, and I ended up resenting them because he said he resented them because he ended up feeling for them. He felt like the more that he felt for them, like the weaker that he got, pretty much. Actually, Vegeta later on gives his mind over to Majin Buu in one part of the series because he's resentful for his growing yearning love for his wife and his children, and he gives himself over to evil, and he did it on purpose. And when everyone realizes that, they're like, what the heck? And the reason he did it is because he wanted to outmatch Kakarot. And when Kakarot found out, he was like, you fool, why would you do that? And then later Vegeta, he's like, one thing, you can try to take my mind and my body, whatever, you cannot take my Saiyan pride. And he goes back and he sacrifices himself, and then he fixes it and brings back all the people that he murdered, regardless, whatever. When women do that, though, they have like the resentment towards the man and the family, because they realize that the only way for them to actually become great is it up? Is it up? Are they all up? The only way for them to become great is if they actually surrender to a family, like if they surrendered to a husband. Because one of the problems for women is the recognition that they need men. Actually, I'm gonna pull up while my dad is doing that, I'm gonna pull up a Bible verse. So in Genesis, and this hit me the other day, honestly. I was talking about this on the stream. Genesis 3:16 KJV. It says, unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. Semicolon. Sorrow thou shalt bring forth In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, semicolon. And thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So sorrow is mentioned twice, and it semicolons it even after the children, to mention that also in the thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. For women, for a lot of women, for women in general, that's sorrow, because they have to deny themselves the desire to control themselves 100% and not surrender that control to God, a father, and a future husband. Because obviously you learn growing up from God and your father how to cooperate with men and have submission and respect and honor and loyalty, and eventually you give that to a husband. A lot of women, this is why they're like, okay, well, I'm going to go around and do what I want with my body and blah, blah, blah. Now, like, girl like me, I was apathetic. I saw on, what is that podcast? Shiz and Gigs. I'll say it like that. Shiz and Gigs. They were saying that the one guy prides himself on not being able to be seduced. And then the guy was like, no, I don't believe that. They were like, is it a girl? And they're like, no, it's a guy. And they were like, oh, no, I don't believe that. It just takes the right thing. And it's like, oh, no, man. For me, growing up, a lot of things, I didn't care, right? I was completely apathetic, just did not care. So when people came to me, I was like, I could reason myself out of everything, because I'm like, nope, never had an STD, don't want to start now, don't want a friend for life, don't need a friend for life, I already got Jesus. Nope, don't like you, don't want anything to do with you, you're dumb, or whatever. Like, just reasoning myself out of everything. You're incapable, whatever. Not really. I mean, and then, growing up, you do come across a lot of dumb people. I mean, like, everyone is doing whatever foolishness they want to do. And it doesn't mean that, I haven't made my fair share of mistakes like everyone else. But for me, I wasn't going to go around doing that type of, that type of intoxication, because it was too much logic for me. There was too much risk. There was no return on my investment. There's the risk of having kids with someone that I didn't care about. There was a risk of AIDS or disease, like herpetogonosyphilis, as far as I'm concerned. Everything. Like, I'm scared to even use public bathrooms. Like, I don't like shaking people's hands. I'm not even gonna lie to you. All of that. Like, I was just reasoning myself out of every single level of connection with people. On a personal friendship level, okay, well, there's nothing really benefit to be around you. So, like, unless you need something, leave me alone. If you need something, sure, but I don't need anything, so leave me alone. Can't work that way, right? So, a lot of women, but this was a control thing. That's what I was getting at. This is, and for sure, like, before marriage, it's a good thing not to do certain things. And I foolishly believed that nobody could ever make me feel anything to compromise any of my thoughts, because I just not come across it. If I chose, I chose. I fully was like, I'm the kind of person, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to choose. If I fall into a situation, I take the L and realize that I was out chessed. Like, I lost. I got checkmated, like, from the jump. It was a gambit from the jump, and I lost. And there was just nothing I could do about it. And I just took the L because I'm like, I got myself into this situation. I have to take the L. I just silence. But I had the delusion of thinking, because no one had ever made me feel anything, like a man had never before made me feel anything like serious, that I was in full control because I was outwitting the people around me, or that I was just smarter, or that I was just, because I was like, well, I don't feel anything. You're not going to tempt me. Like, people would send me stuff, and people would try to do stuff, and I would look at them and be like, okay, and, like, can I go? Like, what do you want? Like, why? Like, why are we even, like, what do you want? Go away. I'd be at parties with people. When I was at university, people would come at me, I would just slap them in the face and be like, get away from me. Like, I was not that kind of person to really care. I was like, don't try me. Like, leave me alone. Stay away from me. Don't touch me. I was really that kind of person. Because no, you're not going to play me. But because I thought I had full control over my emotions and my discipline, I thought my discipline was getting me beyond the men around me, but that wasn't the case. I just never came across somebody who could actually make me feel something that made me believe that there was something else. Like, in the Bible, it doesn't say that you're not going to feel for anybody, that you're not going to have, I mean, we see Solomon was a very, he talked about quite a lot of things, but you're supposed to feel passion for the person across from you. You're supposed to learn to demonstrate restraint in that love and passion for the other person. And that actually shows more so your love and respect for the individual than you showing restraint just because you don't feel anything. Because you don't feel anything. It's easy to show restraint when you don't care about somebody. When you genuinely care about someone, you have to take action and steps and efforts to make sure you go out of your way to show them that love and respect. And so it's a whole different thing. The reason why feminism wants women to completely suppress their emotions in the way that I'm describing now and overall is because then they want full control, and they think that the full control of themselves means control of people around them, because the control of themselves will force the outcomes around them. Everything I do means that the things around me will fall into line with what I'm doing. And that's not the case, because women don't create circumstances, they react to them. And then they think that they don't need to surrender to men, because it's like, okay, well, I'm in full control of myself. What are you going to do to me? Well, you can't make me feel anything. You can't teach me anything. Like, who are you? And that's farthest from the case. Obviously, it's not the truth. I did have a father, of course. Well, I still do have a father, and he taught me a lot of things. But to be fair, my father is a very intelligent and exceptionally capable individual with extremely high IQ. Like, I wasn't finding that growing up, quite frankly. It's different now, but that's a different case. So anyways, we'll go to the next thing. The control in general is to destroy women's submission and surrender to men, because the only way that a woman will reach her full potential, mind, body, personality, whatever, career, whatever she wants to do, is if she fully surrenders to a man. So let's go to the next clip, if I can find it here. Wait a second. So I'll do this one first, probably. Yeah. No, not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Sorry, guys. Wait.
We sure got some strong-willed women, don't we?
It's rough. Well, some of the time. To be honest, I like her feistiness.
I hear you, Vegeta. That's the same reason I'm with Chi-Chi, too.
We're wired that way, didn't you know? Saiyans only like strong women. That's it. That explains everything.
So the reason I showed you this is because a lot of men, I think the elites know that men love strong women, especially if they're strong and capable men, and they will go for women who are strong and capable, but they'll think that their strength and capacity, their capability, is because they were doing what I used to do. I was maintaining full control of myself and never faltering in certain ways, because unless I'm forced into a situation, then that was different, because obviously when I was trafficked and when I was a kid in foster care, that's different. You're forced, it's different. But doing what I did, where people would try me at a different kind of thing, and I would just maintain my composure and be like, so, like, even when people would come and talk to me, even if I thought that I felt something, like, oh, they might be interesting to talk to, it didn't really move me in any type of way. So a lot of men were very intrigued. Like, a lot of men would tell me all the time, like, oh, you're so mysterious, or you're so, like, nonchalant and blah blah blah, and you're, like, strong and all these things, and that's very well true. But the reason that it is extra true in the face of them is because I didn't care for them, and I was talking to them maybe because they were talking to me, and I was just trying to be nice, and I was just having a conversation, or I enjoyed the thing itself. You could be talking about languages, and I love languages so much that I'll engage in the conversation with you, just to have a decent conversation. And then they'll be like, oh, you're so amazing. And I would be like, okay, but how did you get here? I'm talking about languages. Please leave me alone. Why are you saying this to me? Like, go away. This is not what I came here for. But this is the problem, because when women get into situations where they don't allow themselves to feel things, they'll get into conversations with men to just casually, and it's not, I'm not saying anything bad happened to this conversation. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that they were useless. And then men would be like, oh, you're so great. And I'd be like, okay, and leave me alone. Go away. Why don't you be great somewhere else? And I was very resentful. Because I was like, well, why are you telling me I'm so great? What about you? Where's your greatness? Show me some greatness. Like, what the heck? And women, predominantly, like, the men who come across these women, they'll think that, okay, well, she's just so composed. No, she doesn't like you. She doesn't like you. That's why a lot of women are going around, like, they're talking about, oh, money this, money that. And me too. All I cared about was money before, like, when I was younger, because I had it myself. I grew up with money. Like, everyone in my family, like, I wasn't, like, super rich or nothing, but I was very comfortable. And that's all I cared about, was being comfortable, having enough to enjoy myself. Like, my great granny was a nurse. My aunt, she worked for the government. My dad, he's doing mechanical engineering now, but before, well, we got destroyed the last couple of years, but whatever. Before he was a heavy duty mechanic, he was on the rigs and doing other stuff. So we always had money. My dad used to give me money every morning before school. He would get so pissed off. He'd give me money for lunch at school in the morning before he went to work. And I would spend it on me and my friends, because I was like, okay, well, you don't have and I have, so I'm going to share with you. I liked that. I liked giving, because I felt like if I had, I can give. But I always liked being in control. I liked being in control of the money that I had and where it came from, because then you're not going to tell me that you're helping me. You're not going to give me a lending hand and then have the one up on me. I'm always going to have the one up. I'm always going to have the money. I'm always going to have the control over myself and my discipline. You're not going to get me to do anything I don't want to do. You're not going to inspire me to do anything, because I'm only going to decide what I want to do when I want to do it. And that's going to be the end of it. That's how I was, because I was afraid. I was afraid that if I gave any of that control over to someone else, then they would screw me. I used to go on dates with guys and I would pay. I went to the movies with guys and I would pay for the ticket and the food And I would pay for myself to get there because I didn't want to ever hear that back. I would go hang out with people for Bible study, like guys that I liked. We'd go to Bible studies, like I'd meet up with them or whatever. I would transit across the city and pay for everything myself so that I don't have to burden anybody or do anything. I had friends that I'd go visit. I would save money from work and go visit and buy them stuff, and graduation, all that kind of stuff. I enjoyed doing that because I did not ever want to be the one receiving anything. I don't care if they're driving. If I asked my friend to go out to hang out, I would pay, because I'm like, I don't want to hear later on that you're pissed off that you spent money hanging out with me. I'm just going to pay. Like, I would do all of these things to make sure that, and that's why I said the last couple of years, I don't know why God allowed me to go through this. I truly don't. Obviously, there's a purpose. I've yet to know it. But whatever the reason, it killed whatever last ounce of feminism there was in me. Like, it just, maybe I needed it. Who knows? Maybe I needed it. Because honestly, women only understand through consequences. And it's not that it should have happened. It's just that God is using it for a greater purpose and glory at this point now. And the point I'm trying to get at is that women will use these things as a security blanket, and men will think, oh, well, women, they want a man that, they want a man who's going to pay this and blah, blah, blah. No, she doesn't like you, bro. Because a guy could buy me something and I would give it back or sell it. I would be like, yo, what is this? Like, what? Some girls will keep it. Like, I know girls who, like, their whole closet is like their ex-boyfriend's wallet. But I was not that kind of person. Like, I went to the UK. I used to live in Toronto, and I had a boyfriend there. I moved there for school because I wanted to move to Toronto. I told my dad, like, as soon as I turn 18, I'm going to the 6. I was going to go to UK, but my dad was like, no, UK is too crazy. And I'm like, we got family there, but whatever. Anyways, we ended up I was going to go to UK to visit my family, and he had to go to a wedding. So I ended up going at the same time, but I paid for everything. I paid for everything myself. As far as I'm concerned, it was a solo trip, because I'm like, I out the pocket myself. I met up with my family. Like, at this point, it was just like we were just traveling at the same time, because I've never ever wanted to be like, no. And for sure, did they buy me like food or something, or here and there, whatever they wanted to do? Yeah. But I wasn't going to have someone come out the way and say, oh, yeah, I paid for her to go here and we did this. And no, I'm like, no, I visited my family. You were just there. Like, but when women focus on finance and they're like, oh, I just want this guy who's going to pay for this and that. And it doesn't mean that a woman shouldn't concern herself with if a man should take care of her, because a man's job is to take care of his wife. That's true. But the women who are just like, okay, well, he bought me this and you have to buy me this, they actually don't like you. They actually don't care, because a woman who genuinely feels for you, you'll see in the response, like the way that she responds to you is going to be entirely different. She's affected by you. She is personally affected. I am shaking right now. Like, for the last while, I'm in systems overload, like I told you guys, like at the beginning of the stream. I am feeling things that I thought I would never feel in my entire life. And my dad told me over and over again, Kaysha, you will feel these things and it's going to drive you crazy. The problem with women is that because they don't calculate for these things, they think that it's fine. They'll come across a man who actually kind of, like, women who are thinkers like me, like more intuitive thinkers and try to be more rational and logical. They will take all of their emotions and their experiences and they'll file it in a cabinet, like in their mind, and they'll put them away and try to compartmentalize them. But like, when they come across a certain type of man, he'll do a certain amount of things. I don't know how, like, I just experience it. Like, they'll just do things. Eventually you'll get to a point where your cabinets are like overwhelmed, and then it becomes chaos because it all spills out. They're like, it burns to the ground. Like, the cabinet that she's been filing things in for her whole life burns to the ground to ashes. And then she has no idea how to put everything back in or where to file it, because she doesn't even know where it came from. She doesn't even know how it came to be. She doesn't know where it was inserted or how it was inserted. It just showed up. And she like slowly, and because men understand that women repress things like this, I know they understand it. I see them do this. Like, women, they know that when women are like repressing things or trying to prevent themselves from feeling things, they know that eventually they're going to overload because it's going to be too much for them to handle. And then when it gets to the point where it's too much for them to handle and it's overloaded, that's when everything spills out. And then it's like it doesn't stop. This is why when women are leaning towards more deception versus more love, it's going to show very clearly, because her actions, she, like I said, she doesn't know where it came from. So she's just, every action she does is just going to demonstrate what's actually going on. It's just going to be like another truth revealed. Like, whether she says it or she does it in her actions, it's just going to spill out. So when women are not actually emotionally affected by the man that is sitting across from her, she doesn't like him. She might like the way he thinks. She might like certain aspects about him, but she's not moved by him. She's not in love with him. He can buy her everything. It doesn't matter. That's why the women will actually be loyal to the money instead of the man when another man comes along with more money, because she's not moved by that man. She's not personally affected by him. A woman who's personally affected by a man could have everything and lose everything and live in a shack with the man and be perfectly at peace, because she can't imagine breathing oxygen without that person. That's just how women are when they truly love you. Okay, let's go to the next one. I think it is this, and I'm almost done. It's just like two more, I think.
Gracious host and all, but I'm getting really tired of you ruining my party when you weren't even invited, okay? I want you off this boat right now!
Oh, no! Bulma, no!
Don't grumble. If you've got something to say, then just say it!
Oh! Beerus, please have mercy! Whatever you plan to do it to me! Don't hurt her! Don't hurt her!
Wake, you! Mom, say something. Are you okay?
What have you done? How could you? What did you do to my Bulma? Mark my words, Beerus. Mark them well. You're going to suffer for what you've done.
Yeah, so the reason why I showed you that there, so you see Vegeta, that's a very famous scene, of course, you know, it was kind of the full clip, not fully the full clip, but you know, it was up there. Um, Women think that when they get like, so as you saw, Vegeta, Bulma gets hit. Obviously, she done a feminist thing, but you know, she hit the guy. She was pissed off about what was going on at her birthday party. And so she went and hit Lord Beerus, not understanding the situation of who he was or what was going on. Vegeta goes in and he loses his mind. He's like having existential crisis. And it's funny because whenever Vegeta starts feeling something that he wasn't expecting, he's like, unbelievable. And this time he's like, what did you do to my Bulma? And he's freaking out. Like, not in the way that obviously she did, but he was like, you have to pay. Like, there's consequences now. I don't care if you're Lord Beerus. I don't care if you're the destroyer god. I don't care if you're going to kill me. I have to go out with my honor defending my wife and my family. This is ridiculous. And if you watch the full clip, Master Roshi, so he actually starts pummeling Lord Beerus, and Master Roshi says, oh, this is crazy, pretty much. I'm paraphrasing. His hits are even more powerful than Goku. And the entire time, like, if you watch when Goku and Kakarot are or Kakarot and Vegeta are actually sparring, or they're in fights together, whatever, they're constantly, even Kakarot was like, oh, we're evenly matched, and Vegeta was like, yeah, we're evenly matched, whatever. And it was like Kakarot would inch, and then Vegeta would catch up, and then he'd inch and then catch up, and they would be evenly matched or something like that. And sometimes Vegeta would push, but in this scene in particular, they said that he was actually more powerful than Goku, and the driving factor was, I guess, maybe the love that he had for his wife and his family. I don't really understand the way the mind. Yes. So the love that he had for his wife pushed him beyond his limits to even push past who he spent his entire like time, like a lot of his adulthood, a huge portion of his life, trying to catch up with Kakarot. And he thought that just the act of having the family itself was going to push him past that capability. But when he allowed himself to actually love his family and connect with them on a more personal level, he was able to go and do this. Now, women think foolishly that when they are in the same position and something happens, that they're going to go at it the same way.
Nope.
They're not. Because how he became more powerful, women become more destructive and they become more evil. So like something will happen to their family, and the anger and the rage that they feel of that something happened. If I see something that is offensive to the person I care about, I'll snap. I can't help it. I'm a composed person. I'm so calm and so laid back. But the other day I saw something and I lost it. Ask my dad. He was just like calm. I was like, what the heck? Like, and then I thought about it and I was like, this is why women can't do certain things, because when they actually care about someone, if they choose to let themselves act in the emotion of, I'm angry, so now I have to go into the defensive, it's not the same as a man going to defend his family. So when women operate from the anger and they go and do these things, they're going to become very destructive because they don't understand the circumstances, like how Bulma came in and just slapped Lord Beerus. She didn't know what was going on and she just caused more problems. And they'll just create chaos and dissension and put people in positions to die where it's not necessary, and even themselves and their family, because Lord Beerus could have wiped out the whole universe because of that one slap. And he actually said he was going to kill everyone, and then they decided, they ended up having a situation where they didn't, and he ended up liking the food on Earth, and he was a foodie, so you know the food saved people. In short, paraphrasing, because obviously there was more to that than that. But women, they can't be motivated through that chaotic kind of frame. They can't be motivated through the anger, because their reason is going to go out the door, and they're going to do a lot of things that are going to be more detrimental to the help than it's going to be beneficial, because she doesn't know how to fix it. She doesn't even know what the problem is. She just knows that I care about this person and I'm angry. But the anger that I feel, the anger that a woman will feel towards like someone hurting a family member, like, you know, a father, a sister, a brother, whatever, that's going to make her angry. That'll make her really angry. The anger that she'll feel towards someone she chooses to marry and love is going to be entirely different. That is that is a very intoxicating thing. I'm not even going to lie to you. So if you get women who are going around like Jezebels, who love doing evil and they love hurting children, men, whatever, causing chaos and destruction, it's kind of similar because the payoff, like I said, it's a cheaper payoff. Like they get the payoff uh in a short way, but in order to keep up with it, they have to keep doing more hits of crack, versus if they have the long-term benefit of a husband or a man that they love or care about, then they're going to get a long-term kind of intoxication. And when I tell you, like, women are personally affected when they care about you, like, obviously there's the beginning stages, the honeymoon, for sure. Yeah, there's always that honeymoon stage, whatever. And when you go through life continually, then, you know, some things you're going to get used to the person, but that doesn't mean that it changes how much you love them. You should be loving them more and more every day because you guys are actually growing together. You're doing mission together. This is also why they've taken women out of the home and put them to serve other people in corporate America, because it gives the surrender that a woman should give to her husband to a load of different people, men and women and whoever else in corporate America, and sever some of that like bond. So where she should be growing with her husband together as a unit in a home, she's growing with all these people outside of the house. And she's like, I don't really need him. I have this boss and I have all these coworkers that are so competent and they're so amazing and I'm following them. They're leading me to success and all these things. And we're just so different now. We're not the same. And then she'll have like emotional affairs and all this other stuff. And even when he's away and, oh, I can't, whatever. And then even him, he might feel like, okay, well, we're just two different people and it's just not going to work. And, you know, because they're growing apart, they're not growing together. As you grow together in Christ, you should love each other more. It doesn't mean that you're going to feel that same fiery passion at the beginning. You know, that's going to be a very different thing, but you should still have some level of continual growth that strengthens. And for women, especially at the beginning, if it's something new, it's very intoxicating, which is why they're constantly getting more hits of crack by abusing more and more people, doing more and more, because the difference of people gives a different reaction, and the way that the mind game plays, it's going to release differently. And that sounds very strange, but I'm so serious. I'm so serious. Women will take hits of crack in emotionally, like either abusing or loving someone, and it will have you like, it will have women like literally as if they did a literal hit of crack, like a literal hit of crack. And my mom's a crackhead. I grew up with my mom being a crackhead. I know how crackheads behave. You know, pimps, crackheads, all this kind of stuff. So anyways, let's go to the, and it's, okay. And wait a second. Wait, did we remove the other one? Oh, wait, no, here it is. I think it's this one.
I don't lose! I win! I win! That's my job! That's what I do!
See, women will see that and they'll think, lose, I don't lose, I win. That's what I do, you know? And to a degree, sure. Like, do women need to have money and resources and take care of themselves in some degree? Yeah, sure. Like, everybody needs money. Like, I used to always have money. Like, I always had a job, whatever. And then before I worked for the government, as you guys know, when I was a whistleblower, I had money. I didn't care. Like, I just took care of myself, whatever. And had my dad too. But when women get to the point where they suppress their ability to feel for people, their only focus is going to be, okay, now I can chase this money, because chasing this money is control, it's power. I don't have to surrender to anyone. I decide. Everything I decide. If a man comes into my life, I decide. I used to think to myself, I used to only do things when I had money to do things. If someone wanted to hang out, I would only hang out if I had money, because I didn't want them to be like, oh, well, I'm the one who gave this or whatever. I didn't want anything from you. Like, I didn't want anything. Like I said, if I was dating someone and they gave me something and we broke up, I would just give it back. And if they didn't want it back, I would just sell it. And then I'd give the money away. I was like, I don't even want the money from this. It's probably not funny, but I was constantly like, I'm not dating somebody unless I have a really good job and I'm making loads of money, because I don't ever want them to tell me what to do. You're not going to tell me what to do. You're not going to tell me, and you're not going to tell me no. Like, you're not going to tell me that I can't have something, because if I want it, I'm going to have it. Like, not like anything bad, but like, I'm not going to have someone sit down and tell me like, you don't deserve this because I don't like you, or be spiteful, or I want to go out and do something and then they're going to spit in my face or punch me in the face, or they're going to give me something just because they punched me in the face and they think it's going to make up for it. I was like, I just want to buy whatever I want to buy, and I'm going to do it by myself. And you're not going to determine if I have something nice or not. I want to buy some clothes. I'm going to buy it for myself. I'm going to buy. The last couple of years, bro, the poverty I experienced the last couple of years was so humiliating. I've never experienced it in my entire life. I promise you. I've never shopped at a thrift store in my entire life. I've never had, sure, from cousins and stuff having hand-me-downs or whatever, but my dad, when he took me shopping, the kids at school used to make fun of me for wearing Jordans. I went to like a white school. My dad bought me Jordans, and people were like, oh, like, why are you wearing Jordans, blah, blah, blah. I grew up in the wrong time, I guess. It was Indian kids making fun of me. And I was like, and my dad was like, what are you talking about? And I went home to my dad crying, like, oh, and then my dad in elementary bought me Pumas, these nice suede ones. And these are things I remember because like they were slick to me, and I really liked them. Played soccer with the kids or whatever, and I felt cool. Always bought me quality things because it just lasted longer. Not because we were like brand junkies or whatever. We just liked certain brands that lasted longer and they were good quality and it was cool. And so I never grew up like raggedy or nothing. Like I had whatever my father thought I needed, which is what I needed. And I was just like, I'm not going to ever be in a situation where I'm not going to have what I want and what I need. Cause I'm not a greedy person. I was very frugal with my money. I would only buy something if I needed it. But when I spent money because I needed it. And a lot of the a lot of the things that women do now with money particularly is actually control over the home and control over the people around them. And it's not just control over themselves, because I'm not saying women shouldn't have money. Like, because if you have a job, you're going to have money. I'm just saying the certain mindset, because it's a blanket and it's a coverage. It's like a security thing. Now I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to think about what you have to say or what your thought process is. I don't have to listen to your authority. You're not capable, because I have more physical and mental and emotional control than you. And I have more financial control than you. And I'm smarter with my money. I had really good credit. I would put money on my credit card and then buy things. I was preemptively paying off credit cards before I even spent money on the credit card, because I did not ever want. I didn't even have speeding tickets, not because I'm a good person, because I just didn't want problems. I didn't want consequences that were unnecessary. So in order to avoid unnecessary consequences and doing unnecessary work, I did all of these things to prevent myself from doing more work later. In some ways, yeah, that was good. And in other ways, it was just me being an apathetic person that just didn't want to feel or care about anything. It's just what it was. So a lot of women will put themselves in these positions and start doing these things so that they can override men when they come in. And when men doubled down and were like just letting me do what I wanted to do, I was like, okay, so you are weak. Like, you are not because they wouldn't spend. That's not what I'm talking about. Just the way that they behaved, because I was like, my dad would never do this. Like, I'm doing this because this is what I want to do, but you're doing this because it's what I want to do. And that's crazy to me. And at one point, my dad had to tell me, like, Kaysha, you can't put people in the position to do things like that, because you have to just accept, like, when men want to be men. And I'm like, well, you don't even do that. And he's like, yeah, but Kaysha, you can't go about things that way. Like, you just can't do that. You can't do that. So I had to learn that. But still, it takes a certain kind of person. A lot of the indoctrination from school has made men a certain way and has made women a certain way. And it's affected things a lot, because a lot of the men that I grew up with in my generation, they were very much into like feminism and did a lot of feminist behaviors, and it emboldened women in feminism to believe that, yeah, we can keep up with you and all this other stuff. Like when I'm running faster, or like not faster, like a lot of the guys are way faster, but like if I'm enduring longer, for like the runs or whatever, like the little tests that you have in school, or if I get higher grades or something, schools are really set up in a feminine way so that when the women get a certain type of award, they feel like they're better than the men around them. And that's not the case at all. Like I could always tell that there was a disparity, not just physically, but mentally and all these other things. But until COVID happened a couple years ago, like until it started, that's when a lot of things started settling to me way more, because it was too in your face to hide. It was just too serious. It was just unavoidable, which is a good thing, which is a good thing, because I learned a very serious lesson that I needed to learn. But yeah, this is the crux of the issue, really. A lot of these things are done for women to control their surrounding. Let me show you this last video here. This woman she's really sweet.
The thing is, I am just so excited to meet my man and just give him all the love I got on reserve for him. Like, boy, do you know how much I've been waiting for this? You don't even know. Oh my God, I have so much in the reserves right now. I got songs picked out, girl. I got memes saved. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Fellas, this is what we've been working for. That shit damn near brought a tear to my eye. All the hard work.
Yeah, he curses too much in that thing, and I didn't clip it. But that girl, what you see there is very typical for women who actually start to feel things, or allow themselves to feel things, actually. If a man were to put himself on like a wall, like be a fly on the wall or whatever, in a room full of women. Wait, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. In a room full of women, he would see this all the time. But and like a lot of men online were like, oh, like she's a rare breed, and in some ways she is, in some ways she's not, because a lot of women are like this. They don't display it because they are terrified of the consequences of trying to come across someone who will actually gel well with them, so to speak, because then if they come across that person, then they have the fear that they have to perform. But the thing is, when you come across that person, they're not going to expect like crazy performance out of you. It's another reason why I was a lot the way that I was in those ways, is because a lot of the men that I spent time around wanted performance out of me in some capacity. And it was like they were competing with me and constantly comparing themselves to me. And I couldn't stand that. It's like we were constantly trying to one up each other, and it was exhausting. I couldn't stand it.
It's abusive.
It is abusive. Yeah, it is abusive, my dad said. And huh?
Some women will try to compete with men.
Yes.
And they're just destroying themselves.
Yeah, he said some women will try to compete with men and they're just destroying themselves. And that's true. But the men that I ended up dealing with, some of them were not this way. Some of them were normal. Some of them were really normal, but they just, we just didn't gel well, and that was fine. I had no hard feelings there. But some of them that I dealt with were very competitive, constantly trying to push past each other and all these things, and it was very exhausting. And a lot of men, I've noticed, at least in my experience, were like that. And perhaps it's because I never allowed myself to feel things for people. In all of my prior relationships, I'd never been in love with anybody. I just never allowed myself to. And maybe I didn't come across the right person. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I just didn't come across the right person. Maybe it just wasn't my time, and that's fine. I'm not upset at all. I'm actually quite glad. But because I didn't allow myself to feel, that's why I wasted time there. Perhaps I would have, come across something else if I hadn't done that. You know, if I had actually spent more time embracing the more loving aspect of things and letting myself be vulnerable to emotions, or letting a man bring out the best in me, opening my mind to those things, and potentially maybe not. If I could go back and change everything, if I could go back now and go back to the beginning and change everything, I wouldn't change a single thing. Like that's how valuable I think this lesson has been to me. That's how strongly, that's how important I think the feeling is to understand. Because the point is, though, if you are at that beginning stage before progressing forward, you're going to waste time in jobs, in degrees, in relationships, friends, whatever, if you don't allow yourself to connect with people, because you're so apathetic, you don't care. You don't care about anything. Like, you don't care about anything in relation to yourself. You don't know what your purpose is. You don't know where your place in life is, and you don't know what the point of doing anything is. What happened? Oh. And that affects your ability to decipher what's best for you and where it's best to go. Now, I have a father, so I could listen to his logic and reason on what I should do, when, why, and because he pushed me to do my duty, he said, by the time I do come across that person, I'll be able to do what's necessary, and I will naturally fall into the emotions. Now, I didn't believe him about the emotions, because I'm like, I've never experienced that, and I don't think I will. But I was ignorant. I was young and I was ignorant. I thought I knew better than my dad out of my own emotion. That was really actually an emotion, than his long-term experience as a man, and this is why I made a lot of mistakes. But if you're in that beginning stage, allow yourself to be vulnerable with a man that's coming to deal with you. Don't just sit there and be like, I'm going to go and invest time into this person if you don't see that you care about them. This is also why it's important for women to follow their fathers, because even though I was doing that, like the men who came to me, try to talk to me, you know, some of them would, the good ones would come and try and talk with my dad, of course. And my dad would say, you know, we go through the process or whatever, like courtship, because I grew up a Christian, and, you know, we went to church, and it's not like they didn't know who my family was. But what?
This is why you cannot take children away from their fathers.
Yes.
Because when you do that, you create Jezebels. And when you create Jezebels, you break down society. Trafficking will go through the roof because of it. Because women think that they can do what men can, and they place themselves in positions where they're completely unmatched, and they get destroyed.
Right. Yeah. So this is why when I even though I felt the way that I felt, or I was doing whatever I was doing, and not feeling what I didn't want to feel, I could reason with my dad. I would straight up tell my dad, no, I'm going to do this. I don't care. This is what I want to do. And he'd be like, Kaysha, you can do whatever you want. Being an adult doesn't actually mean that you can't do whatever you want, but you can't absolve yourself of the consequences of your actions. And these are the consequences you're going to get from life and from me. And if I reasoned that I just didn't want to deal with that, then I wouldn't do it. If I thought that I was going to be wrong and strong, then I would do it, and then have to come back with my tail between my legs and be like, oh man, can you please help me, man? I'm sorry. But I could avoid a lot more things because I at least had a father. Now, a lot of these women who don't have fathers, like my dad said, things are going to go through the roof because when you're apathetic that way and you're not feeling anything, you have no clue how to gauge anything. You have no clue. I'm blessed beyond measure that I had a father, because I could still learn all of the things of being a Proverbs 31 woman: cooking, cleaning, kindness, cooperation with a man, how to be submissive, like how to work well with him, so that when I came across someone who was like him, that had the same leadership qualities and kindness and, you know, compassion and intelligence and all these other things, that I would be able to naturally know how to work well with him, because I would recognize what my father taught me in those actions, and be like, oh, this is exactly it. This is it. But when women, they don't have that, they have no clue. They're just wandering, like soulless. They're wandering around soulless. They don't know how to feel. They don't know when to feel or where to feel. They're wasting a lot of things. And then when they do decide to feel, because the easiest pump is anger, resentment, frustration, they're going to latch on to that. And even myself, there's a lot of things that I have to pray about, because it's things that I'm not used to experiencing, that I have to be like, you know what, God help me, because I sometimes get frustrated by my lack of, because of the competition mindset that I used to have. I get frustrated by my weakness in comparison. I'm like, why can't I match up? Why can't I do this? Why can this person do this? Why can't he do this, but I can't do this? This doesn't make sense. I've never done this before. This has never happened to me before. Why is it like this? Why don't I have that same level of composure? Why don't I have that same level of restraint? I'm not out here seducing people, guys. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just internal feelings, like just things that I could easily cut off at the pass. I used to break up with people and walk away like nothing happened. Like I never knew the person. I'd never talk about them. I just didn't care. It was really nothing for me. And when I talk about my exes on here, it's not because it's like, oh, I'm so sad about it, whatever. It's just, it's a matter of fact. I don't feel anything towards it because it really doesn't affect me that way anymore. It's just fact. It's matter of fact of what happened and why things are done a certain way. In my mind now, though, the way that I function now, I'm like, it blows my mind, because I'm like, how is this even possible? I've never been challenged like this before. And this is what happens when men hold themselves as men. I don't know how, because my brain can't process how men do this. And it doesn't mean that I don't have discipline. I have loads of discipline. There was loads of people the last couple of years that tried to sleep with me. I'm not talking about the people who cornered me and forced me into sexually compromising positions. I mean, I would go out to events and things, and people would try to sleep with me, and I would just be like, yeah, okay, anyways, I have to go. Or I just wouldn't even put myself, like, the things that people would try to do to be like seductive or whatever, it just wouldn't. I'd be like, okay, well, because that's, my mind just doesn't go there. I'm not that kind of person. But it's because, again, I didn't feel anything for those people. I really couldn't care less. But now I'm having to deal with actual emotions in any capacity. I'm not talking about being disgusting, guys. I'm not talking about being disgusting. I'm just emotions in any capacity, having to think about, okay, well, why do I feel this way? And what am I going to do about it? How do I fix it? How do I resolve it? How can I put this to good use? And what I really want to get to here by saying this is, women cannot perform if they don't feel. Because for the last little while, one thing I do know about myself is when I do care about something very deeply, I will keep it to myself. As much as possible, I would keep it to myself. Because I don't want the risk of anything. The reason I come and share these things with you is not because I actually want to, but because I know it's actually necessary. Because as I'm understanding and realizing this, I'm seeing it around me, and I'm like, I need to share this information so someone else cannot do the stupidity that I'm doing. So the last couple of months, I'll give you an example. So like, you guys know I have a Substack or whatever, and I write things or whatever on there, and I'll make, videos and other stuff. But there have been times where I was feeling things, and I'm an exceptional writer. My teachers told me this in school since I was small, and they used to tell me, actually, one of my male teachers told me that I was going to be an exceptional writer one day, and it is my calling to be a poet and a writer and books and all this other stuff, and an orator and all this. And I was like, screw you. I never really said it that way, but that's what I was feeling inside. You're not going to tell me what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a doctor, like my dad was going to be. And because he was going to do neuroscience before he had me, neurosurgeon. And then he had me, and I was going to pick up the mantle because I'm stupid. But yeah, I have a Substack, and I would write sometimes, and sometimes I do other videos or whatever, content creation. Whenever I started to feel something, at some points I would write, but only if I could logistically write. And that's, again, my personality, so to some degree that's always going to be that way. But when I was feeling things that were definitely very good to share, like not in a inappropriate or bad way, or not in a way that's going to be daunting or whatever, but stuff that would have been actually useful for people to hear, I shut myself down completely, because I was rebelling against the potential of being out of control emotionally, surrendering myself fully. And it didn't mean that I don't actually care. It was so foreign to me that I was like, what the hell is going on? And I was like, I can't allow myself to engage in anything that I really want to do in that way, because I don't want to risk showing any vulnerability that way. And that suppressed my capability in work. And the girl today, Michelle Swinnick, has come full circle, told me, Kaysha, you need to find something to be passionate about. You need someone to care about. And she's like, oh, well, maybe your dad. But she knows, like, any woman will know that you can't do for your dad what you'll do for someone you actually care about. It's impossible. So, like, women, unless they actually fully surrender themselves and show and give themselves over fully to love and unity, like full commitment, surrender with a man, they're not going to reach their full potential, because they'll continue to stifle themselves, because that man is going to do things that's going to bring out the best in you, regardless of how things sway or whatever. If that's who the man is, that's who the man is. He's going to bring out the best in you, and you're going to become a better person by simply existing in that man's world. And you're going to realize things. And of course, there are things that I pushed myself beyond, and I put out, because of course I was like, oh, I'm learning these things, it's great, but that was logistical, and I felt like I could keep some of it. Like, and to some degree it's fair, but this is just for the point, making the point that I'm trying to make. I'm trying to make it clear that the best of you comes from releasing that control. But again, wait, can you still hear? I think I tapped it. Okay. The reason that I could even feel comfortable to do these things is because I have a father who can vet somebody and look at them and say, okay, I think this. And then I can say, okay, so this is a safe thing for me to do. So logically, I can allow myself to be open-minded. The women who don't have fathers to do that, like, I was still growing. I have people tell me all the time, like, Kaysha, like, you must be blah, blah, blah. And I know this and blah, 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 because you're behaving like this and you're doing this. And I'm like, oh man, leave me alone. Get out of my face. I mean, like, it's true, but like, leave me alone. But because I have a father who can direct me and say, okay, yeah, go ahead. Women who don't have fathers, who don't have one decent person in the home that's like guiding them in these things, especially a man, cooked. No chance. She's cooked. Not only does she not feel anything, she doesn't know how men operate. She's going in a world of war that she doesn't even know how to. This is why, like I said the other day with Sadiya Khan, what she was doing when I was watching it with my dad as he was laying out the stuff, I started to sweat. And then I started to think of myself in my personal life, and I was like, oh, I could never. The idea itself scared me. Like, the idea itself made me sick to my stomach. Women need to understand consequences. They need to understand discipline, but they need to be moved by something. They need to be moved by someone. And this is also why society doesn't want women to have children and families. They push it off as long as possible until they can't anymore. Because if a woman stays in a constant state of self and selfishness and not service to a man, that sorrow that God talked about in Genesis 3, verse 16, where unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception, semicolon, in sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, semicolon, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. If a woman doesn't enter in that stage of life, she's going to become a psychopath. I'm not saying that all women who don't have children will be like that, because, some women just can't have children. And, God says he opens and closes the womb at will. That's not really my business or my control. I'm talking about women who go out of their way to do this, because then they are going to put themselves in a certain position, because they need, in order to reach their full potential as females, as women, to unlock the greatest portion of themselves, to have true purpose and meaning and passion in life. They need a man. I've always said that I need a husband, and my dad tells me that all the time. I need a family, but it hasn't hit me the way it's hit me as of late, like, the last couple of years especially. But it's hit me in a completely different way, because I'm accepting that I am literally the weaker vessel. In every capacity, I'm the weaker vessel, and that is a good thing. And in accepting that, I'm becoming great. And I actually, I used to say things logistically, like, by the grace of God and my father alone, and then one day I will have a future husband, and I will be great because of him too. I didn't understand the weight of that. I didn't understand the weight of that statement when I said that. I had no idea what I really was saying at that, like the full capacity of that. I knew logistically and logically, like in knowledge, but I didn't understand it until now, because now I'm seeing it kind of like roll out. And I kind of close with that, because women need that personal experience, and this is why when they choose evil, they go on an extreme rampage, because they're getting that personal experience. It's motivating them and it's pushing them. And when they choose to surrender to God, their father, a future husband, they are choosing the fullness of the greatness that God has blessed them with in their gifts and their capacities, in all of themselves. As a woman, you cannot reach your full capacity without having a family. You will be selfish. You will be, yeah, you will destroy yourself, and you'll destroy people around you. You just can't. And this is why society is actually failing, because women are going around doing things, and not caring about anybody, not even themselves. And they won't even submit to the people. I could at least submit to my father, because I'm like, this makes sense. I don't want to suffer. And then eventually I felt something. So anyway, that's what that is, guys. Don't want to come on here and be emotional, or after everything I just said. No, it's okay. Yeah, I hope you understand. I hope you understand what I've said, and I hope that you really consider it. And I hope that the men take into consideration the women that they're dealing with, because children deserve a mother who is capable, in the way that Proverbs 31 describes them. Because when a child, especially a little girl, doesn't see her mother working at her full capacity with the father, it damages the child in a way that I can't even explain. Because I went through a lot of things that I would have never went through if my mother wasn't who she was. And that's in large part why I hated being a woman so much growing up, because I saw how wicked my mother was, and I didn't want to be that. And I saw what women did to my father my whole life, and I couldn't stand it. And I was like, if this is what being a woman is, I don't want any part of it. If it's the materialism, if it's the money, if it's the bags, I don't want anything. I'll do what I want for myself, but I don't want anything to do with that. When a child sees a mother who's fully capable, she's loving, she's kind. If my mom wasn't wicked the way that she'd actually be a decent person. I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's a lot of great qualities about my mom, despite the fact that she's very wicked. Because you can't be 100% evil. But if I was able to see my mom be who my father needed her to be, I would have had more time as a kid to see what it really meant to be like a wife and a husband and a child and a daughter. You rob your kid of everything that they need when you don't marry a woman who is actually capable and actually loves you and is motivated by her love and duty for you. You rob your children of what they need, and that damages them to levels that I don't even think I can fully explain to you.
This
what?
This trauma response is exactly why women are not the ones supposed to be leading.
Yeah.
Because their natural reaction is to hide and to move away. And a man's natural reaction is to go deal with the problem so that it can stop.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, not every woman is going to go there as quickly as others, but the best man and the best woman, it's not even a contest.
No.
You go down all the way down, and the men will ranked it equally, and first, second, third, fourth, they'll be beating the pants off of every woman that's in the same line as them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's really the issue there. So yeah, I hope you guys understand that. Be very diligent with who you choose to be the mother and the father of your children, because they deserve the best. They deserve the best, and they deserve to see the best, and you deserve the best.
This is also one of the reasons why they gave women preference on who controls where the children are.
Yeah, my
because they're emotional and they're going to feel that they can do it, and they're not going to be rational about it.
Right.
Especially if there's a some issue between them. They're more likely to use the child as a pawn.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And a woman, yeah, my dad, like he said, it's about emotionality. And again, the mother can do things out of duty, but a child needs to see that love and passion for the husband as well. My friend tried telling me that the other day, um, and I was offended. I was like, "How dare you tell me to feel things?" But I was denying the fact that I already understand what she's saying. Like, but I put duty first, but I'm understanding the seriousness of passion and the motivation for that, because then you will far excel and exceed even your enemies, the people around you try to destroy you. So anyway, yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. It's late, it's long. We're gonna be having more streams coming up for the stuff that we're talking about feminism. I'll continue to go on with this as I learn and humiliate myself some more. Why not? But it's all in good fun. So, anyways, I will check you guys later, and yeah.